Hello YouTube and fellow card collectors, this is Eric J and welcome to the channel. Today is going to be a video where I show some cards that got me out of sports cards collecting and collecting other things. This particular video will be the 9th video of me showing cards from Decipher's Star Wars customizable card game. This particular video will be showing light side cards from the Jabba's Palace and Endor expansions. Both of these I have 3 full sets of, which you'll see. So you'll see three of each card for both of these sets. Jabba's Palace is among the most overproduced cards from this series. Jabba's Palace and Cloud City are probably the 2 expansions that have the most cards out there and are basically worthless. But they're still fun to look at, in my opinion. The Endor set is a little bit more expensive if you go looking for it out on places like eBay. But without anything else, let's just start looking at some of the cards. Mixture of rarities. Like the R2 is a rarer card. Again, these are Jabba's Palace cards, so they're not particularly valuable. Jabba's Palace has a lot of aliens and character cards in it, which are these gray ones to start with. Vast majority of them weren't particularly useful in gameplay, which is part of the reason why this set is not particularly valuable. But again, still fun to look at, of all the random characters that might have shown up just in the background of certain scenes, whether it was a special edition version or the original version of the episodes, well, in this case, Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. I see members of like the singing in the band and dancers in Jabba's Palace, and Princess Leia in the famous outfit that she wore. Lando in his disguise. You know, those are some of the cards we were more excited to get when these first came out, but you know, these days you can find these incredibly cheap if you find cards that are interesting to you and you just want to collect them. Getting sealed packs from these from Jabba's Palace is also pretty easy to do still. But I'm not at the point where I'm going to open any more of these sets, as I have the cards that I want. If I'm in the mood to play the game, I can just pull them out since these are all sleeved. Just thumb through, grab the cards that I want to play with, and play some games with people like my brother who know how to play. All the effects and interrupts we just went through, and then we'll get some of the locations for where you play the game at, whether they're space or on the ground around Jabba's Palace in this particular set. A vehicle and some weapons. Alright, so that's Jabba's Palace. Now jumping over to the light side cards for Endor, and these had some cards that were a lot more interesting, and a good number of cards in here that were a heck of a lot more competitive. You know, at various points in this game's life cycle. Ewoks are still showing up. Some of those are fun to play with. Theme decks around them. You know, see Chewbacca here. Various rebels that you know, are part of the attack on Endor. You get one of the Leias. It's a rare card. And of course, many Ewoks. And another Han Solo. Good number of these cards, the characters they represent are starting to show up in various miniature games later on and board games for Star Wars, particularly the Fantasy Flight series likes to show a lot of these guys, these characters. Like Mon Mothma. Of course, more Ewoks, always fun. So remember watching the Dark Side video, you'd have seen a lot of troopers and scout troopers. You kind of got the equivalent here to set up the battle. These cards are quite a bit of fun to play in that setting. You got 3PO, more Ewoks. Then a lot of the effects and interrupts in this set had decent utility, whether it was in this decks themed around Endor or elsewhere. But if you're interested in gameplay type of comments on many of these cards, there's plenty of other YouTube videos that will do that much better than I would. A lot of effects and interrupts. And locations. And these cards are kind of cool because they give you quite a bit of starting, more cards starting on the game than you would otherwise. And then they flip when you meet certain objectives. So those cards didn't exist in earlier sets, and you'll see on the backs of them don't have the backs aren't the same, since they have text and they start and play at the beginning of the game. And some vehicles, including the AT-ST that Chewbacca took in the during the battle. And then a couple weapons to finish out the set. Now there are a couple of cards that I'm not showing here from the Endor side, and there were 9 foils that were available in the set, and I'll show those in a later video when I show all the foils that were released for the set over the years. But that's all of the 3 copies of each of the light side cards for both Endor and Jabba's Palace. And the last thing we'll bring as we work our way back to the cover. These covers are just what the booster boxes look like. So they're just scans of a booster box that I just pasted onto or just printed off and put into this binder just to make it easy for me to find it. I also have a list of all the cards on the back, just to make them easier for me to find them without having to thumb through every card. But in any case, Figured this might interest some folks, and if it did, leave a like, leave a comment. They're both appreciated. We'll generate more videos in the future. More commonly, we'll be opening baseball cards and putting together pack fresh sets. But it's fun to look at things that I've collected over time and just that get me out of sports cards collecting here and there. But in any case, we're going to end the video here, and we'll look forward to talking to you in the future. Thanks now, bye.